the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. And again, featuring Spotify. Always appreciate that. So those of you that download and listen to the show on Spotify, though the parameters of Spotify and Spotify for podcasters has got no point of being pretty ridiculous. But if you want to listen on Spotify, great, appreciate it. If not, totally understand, and we'll see how things go in the not-too-distant future. Might be looking for a new logo for the show. We'll have to wait and see. I do, however, have a minor announcement that Freedom of Thought now finally has an Instagram account. So Instagram, it is at freedom_of_thought1776, and it will be in the show description. I have actually added it on a few of the recent shows just to have it in there. The show description, yep. So luckily, that's the one good thing about Spotify for podcasters is you can add something in the description and it'll pop up in just a few minutes. Where in the past on Hipcast, you try to do that, it's never going to happen, ever. So that was kind of annoying and a bummer in the past. But Instagram, Freedom of Thought. Already have a decent, start of followers, but I'm not sure they're really listeners of the show. So those of you that are listeners of the show would greatly appreciate to have you on board. Should have created Instagrams for these accounts in the past. I wasn't a fan of Instagram, really never super duperly have been, because it seems like just a bunch of narcissists that want everybody to look at them. But at the same time, it is a nice place for podcasts to develop and grow and all that. It's a nice place for podcasts to interact with people and fans and everything. And yeah, I could go with live videos or whatever. And then obviously the videos stay on there if you watch it the next day or the next 10 minutes or something, whatever the heck it would be. So it's a nice outlet for podcasts and all that. There's always Facebook Live on occasion, but I think Instagram might end up being a better place for that type of thing. So yeah, there it is. Instagram, freedom_of_thought1776. It is, again, in the show description. Please do give it a follow. So that's a minor announcement to get things going forward. Maybe a major announcement. You could kind of look at it as that. Labor Day is upon us. Always appreciate it very much. It's a nice little Monday off, just like Memorial Day. The other bookend of summer, you could say, particularly for students, high school and, and all that, middle school, elementary, like Memorial Day. We're almost at the end of school year. This is awesome. Here comes summer vacation, and then Labor Day, summer vacation's over already. Oh, gosh, it's so fast. It is too fast, and it kind of sucks, but it's 99 degrees basically the next, like today and tomorrow on Labor Day. Well, Labor Day basically whenever you're listening to this, but I'm recording it just before Labor Day basically. Again, won't be the main theme of the show, won't be the main topic, but again, it's another holiday that I tend to record this show at and around holidays often. So, particularly American type holidays like Labor Day and such. So, yep, significance of it, always thought of it as just kind of a day off for hard workers. Unfortunately, a lot of the, most blue-collar type people, regardless of how you may think of them, this or that, they are blue-collar one way or another. You work at an airport. Well, they're almost always working on Labor Day. Gas station, Labor Day, working. McDonald's, Labor Day, working, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of a bummer and sad, but it is what it is. It's almost like the whole point and the whole purpose of Labor Day seems to have been lost over many, many years. So that's kind of my thoughts on Labor Day at this stage. It's kind of a bummer, but at least some of us other people get it off. I guess I'm not that. I don't have a particularly spectacular job either at the moment, but hopefully it continues to grow and get better. It does have potential to do so, and all that good stuff. I've moved up over the years, but not that high. Why am I getting into that? I don't know. No real need, actually. The Facebook page, right now it almost looks like my computer's freezing. That scared the crap out of me. Facebook page. We'll get to that very shortly. Just kind of general conversation, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, this and that, and how we're getting closer and further along in this literal like culture war we're in that is really coming to a head. You have pastors out there making prophecies, like hopefully it's real, this and that, but you have prophecies about how things are really going to shake in September and or October. That something really major is going to happen. That's going to change it's going to change the face of a lot of things politically in this country, possibly politically, even just other things, but like this, the kind of the leadership structure of the country. Interesting things are going to happen. So that's a prophecy that's been talked about lately. So very interesting. Always the month of September, really a lot of people talk about end times quite a bit. There's a lot of Jewish holidays there's lots of holidays in September. Okay, I'm just kidding. People are jerks about that every December. The ultra left. There's lots of holidays in December. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. God, I hate that so much. Merry Christmas, you little prick. That's what I want to tell them. You prick. Anyhow, and bring it on, baby, bring it on. Yep, I got to look for that soundbite. Awesome soundbite from Truth to Ponder, Bob Bierman. It was awesome. Like haters in the email or whatever attacking him and stuff. He's like, bring it on, baby. Yep. I don't get too many emails or interaction, but at least I don't get too many emails. I do get some interaction on the Facebook page, and I really appreciate that. Hopefully we'll get some on the Instagram and, of course, Twitter as well. X. It's X, Twitter, whatever the heck it is. Whatever the X it is. Anyway, but interesting, though, I was listening to Michael Savage, obviously legendary radio host, Hall of Fame radio host, well-deserved. I'm a huge fan. Liberalism is a mental disorder. The enemy within, trickle-down poverty, trickle-up poverty, trickle-down tyranny. You could go on forever. Trump's war, this and that, the coming civil war. The coming civil war is a big thing. And I think we're a lot closer to that than anything else, unfortunately. I really do. I think the battle lines are drawn, this and that. Joe Biden is an insanely divisive man. Barack Obama, a lot of us hoped, as much as we didn't like his policies, we hoped the day that he came in office that here it comes. There's going to be some unity among, two specific groups of people, two very large, broad groups of people, you can say. Like African American, there's like a billion kinds of there's a lot of African Americans, and there's a lot of Caucasians, obviously this and that. So you're hoping there'd be less and less division, and of course it's not just whites and blacks. It's, obviously it's whites aren't exactly treated well by a lot of different people, and I don't know, some of them treat blacks poorly too. We'll have to wait, but we'll get into that on another day. But just generally speaking, the hope was that Obama was going to bring unity, and he basically poured gas on the fire of any type of division. He poured gas on it and dumped an entire tank of gas on it, and then pulled out another tank of kerosene and added that to it. That's how much Barack Obama did about the division in this country. And then, oh no, Trump divided the country because he had a ban on this and that, on certain countries that had like an insane terrorist rate. Gee, sorry, I guess that's the most horrible thing of all time. He wanted to have borders in a country. That's so divisive. So, of course, the other side is going to tell you Trump divided the country. No. I think it actually started a lot with after Reagan. Not Reagan. Absolutely not Reagan. He was a uniter. He was as big of a uniter as we've ever had. But then I think under Bush, things became more divisive. You started hearing Bush 1. Things became more divisive, and that division added with Bill Clinton more arrogance, major arrogance out of the left-wing side, and the righty, us right-wingers got tired of it, blah, 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 and that's why Bush won, regardless of how people say about Gore, this and that. But that is why Bush won. They were tired of the nonsense. And then Bush was such a lousy overall president, a terrible Republican, but a lousy overall president. Okay, Barack Obama wins in a landslide. Okay, now hopefully everything will be united, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, again, the first day Barack Obama was inaugurated, there was a very positive vibe. Not that I voted for him, but it was like almost the next day. It's like, look at the people he's bringing in. All these Clinton people, blah, blah, blah. here we go again, same old crap. But then it became worse than the same old crap. Like, we'd rather have the same old crap. Like, Clinton was like, like John F. Kennedy versus what Barack Obama was. Barack Obama was basically like the king of division at the time. Just an absolute jackass. Absolute jackass in so many ways. Every single potentially divisive issue, he would pour gas on it. He'd pour gas on the flames, add to it, make it worse. And then, you had protests in the streets. What do we want? Dead cops. When? Now? And that was in Minneapolis, of all places. Unfortunately, that's where I hail from here. Obviously, Freedom of Thought is not a local Minneapolis, St. Paul, Golden Valley, Minnesota podcast. It is a worldwide podcast. And very nice to know there at very least Canadian influence on this show as well. So Lee Hepner, really great to hear from you. Hopefully more and more and more and more and more and more and more. Iowa, and you could go on forever, all over the United States and such. Iowa, of course, a huge part of this show, thanks to Mr. Mark Carlson. Nebraska, thanks to Gerald String. And then now I'm almost blanking here on something else. Ray Ferguson coming in from Kentucky. Wow, what an awesome guy. Absolutely awesome. An incredible voice for radio, an incredible personality for radio. I mean, the guy could be a hit. I mean, like that good. And I mean it in a absolutely positive way. I mean, what a stud, I hope I can hear from you more and more, Ray, coming in out of Kentucky, right? Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I distinctly remember you saying Kentucky in the call-in, and dang, that was awesome. See, it's like U.S.-wide, but it can also be worldwide as well. Happy to know that there are, conservatives out there, again, that we have freedom of thought. We're not going to be in the groupthink of the blue pill, the left wing, and all that such. But even just kind of the people that are on the fence, that are just kind of like, what are you talking about? There was only one, there was only one shooter in the Kennedy assassination. What are you talking about? You're crazy. There was only one. Come on. Stop with the conspiracies. Magic Bullet. That was a movie. Shut up. Okay. The same people that would tell you that the earth is only 6,000 years old. Adam and Eve are 6,000 years old. But open your mind, folks. Giants in the land. It's in the Bible. That's not a myth. It's not a myth. Goliath was a giant. That's just one. There were many more, unfortunately. But luckily, with God's help, the Israelites were successful in Canaan in what could have been a very scary situation. But with God's help and with God working through Joshua, things did work out. Joshua, man, what an awesome man in the history of the Bible. I don't want to use the word character. It's not a fiction book. It's not a fiction. Like, when you think of character, you think of like Sherlock Holmes or something. He's a character in a mystery, in mystery novels and all that. Obviously he's the star, but you know what I mean? But Joshua was a real man in the history, of course, in world history in the past. In fact, they're part of the sun standing still and all that. Pretty amazing how one of those crazy battles in the past, maybe against the giants, as there were, again, several of them. All kinds of factual evidence has been found that there were definitely giants. Not only in Israel, like Canaan, but not only in other parts, not only there, but even in North America, because obviously things were quite different way back when those giants were around. Anyhow, we'll get. I'm getting on another rabbit trail here, and I apologize, rabbit hole, whatever. Going down another rabbit hole, another rabbit trail. I will talk about that in a second some more. I'm getting ahead of where I meant to go. The Civil War, this and that, things are coming to a head in a lot of ways, but I got to think enough. See, this is a main theme of the show that I kind of wanted to get into, is the inner city. Just imagine if the inner city started really waking up to how little Democrats have truly done for them. Truly. Making them reliant on the government. Ultimately, reliant on drugs. Not only prescription, but narcotics. Addicted to narcotics, addicted to prescription drugs, this and that. pill poppers, this and that. You could go on all day. That could be rich. That could be poor people. Middle class could be pill poppers. Middle class could be narcotics. This and that could be into narcs and all that. And of course the gateway drug, which is a gateway drug, because not just because magically marijuana is going to make you addicted to crack, because it doesn't necessarily work that way, no. But it does bring you into the crowd. It brings you into the crowd. The bad influence, this and that. That's where the gateway truly opens. It's like a portal into hell. And there I go into another rabbit trail, rabbit hole, whatever the word is. It's a term that's being thrown everywhere nowadays, and because I get distracted and go off into something else. Oh, Lord. But what's really, again, the inner city. The inner city. How the black votes, particularly in the inner city, might be starting to change a little bit. Like maybe 6% might vote for, might support Trump, or it goes from 6% to possibly 20%. In the not, very, very recently, how Trump's approval rating has changed, so to speak. Like people that would vote for Trump, that would vote Republican, going forward in the inner city, particularly blacks, the black vote. Just imagine, isn't that basically the calling card of the Democrat Party? Isn't that basically what they rely on? Los Angeles, California, with the cobalt blue demographics. Minneapolis, Minnesota, same thing. Atlanta, Georgia. Detroit, wherever. Just imagine if if you go from 6 to 20%, but what if it went from 20% to 35, 45%, 40%, 38%, just 30? Don't you think that would make a massive difference in future elections? I mean, massive difference. Like we could have a Ronald Reagan type of situation. Ronald Reagan, possibly a Nixon McGovern type of election coming up. That's the good news. That's the good news we have to talk about. So what I didn't understand when I talked about Michael Savage already a long time ago, and I completely went off in 15 rabbit trails since then. Michael Savage was basically, he was drinking wine, he's on the air and drinking, or, he was on Twitter drinking wine, doing a show and recording it to put it as a podcast a few days later. He was watching the Republican debates and everything. And he was saying how DeSantis is basically the only candidate that could win, not that could actually beat he calls Biden the lawn chair, basically, because he's just kind of sitting around, on vacation all the time. But that DeSantis would have been the only guy that could win, and that Trump kneecapped him, and now we're basically screwed. It's like, Michael, lay off the wine, man. I'm a unbelievable Michael Savage fan. Huge supporter of Michael Savage. Do you really think that, though? Do you really think that Trump is cooked because, he's offended enough women or this or that over the course of time? That was kind of what he was saying. He just isn't going to have the numbers. There's no way he's going to win because of that. That he's kind of annoyed enough people that Savage would support Trump a million times over, this and that. But, and he does support Trump over anybody. It's just that why kneecap Ron DeSantis when he has a great future, or could have a great future, if he wasn't kneecapped, basically. So, super sad, super frustrating. Yet at the same time, I don't understand the negativity, other than maybe, I don't know, like the wine was getting to him or something. Very disappointing when you think about that. That he would kind of go that direction. That you really believe like it's over. Kind of weird. Like you really think it's all over, and that the lawn chair could be reelected if he's even physically capable to be reelected, or that it's probably going to be Gavin Newsom with Big Mike maybe as the vice president, or someone else. Big Mike being Michelle Obama, of course. Yeah, you can look that up. That's another rabbit trail I'm not going to get into today because I've gone into enough of those already. Another rabbit hole, rabbit trail, whatever the bleeping term is. It's not important. But I truly believe that as long as there is an actual election, because even on the Final Hour podcast, they're thinking there might not be an election at all with the way things are going. That's scary and that sucks. Maybe we're on the verge of the tribulation here. Maybe, I don't know. Something could be coming up very soon. That would be interesting. I mean, I'd be totally fine if we could all just go to heaven and that's it. At least the most of us that are, again, that were saved. But But to think no election and that we're stuck with Biden that way, that'd be really terrible. But if there is an election, I truly believe it's a landslide for Trump. I truly do. And it's not because it's not because I'm a Trump supporter. It's because, even though I am, but that's not the reason. It's not just being a Homer fan, so to speak. Like, oh, the Timberwolves, I think they're going to win their division and they're going to go to the NBA Finals and even win it this year. I think they could. It's like, yeah, right. Come on, man. Or like the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl. Again, locally here in Minnesota, the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl. It's like, I don't know about that. I really don't know. But I do strongly believe that with the way demographics are changing to the level they are, first of all, it tells you just how unbelievably bad they cheated last time around. Like, historic world record cheating. Trump should have beaten Biden in a huge landslide. But now we're talking landslide of landslide of landslide of landslides. We're talking King Nebuchadnezzar versus King Ahab. That's what we're talking about here. King Nebuchadnezzar versus King Ahab. That kind of landslide. Like biblical, if you know what I mean. Obviously, they're from totally different times in the Bible and all that. But just saying, Nebuchadnezzar was the gold part of the statue. Ahab wouldn't qualify for toe jam. Honest to God on that statue. So, just being frank about that. He wouldn't qualify for toe jam. Honest to God. That's what happened with King Ahab and his wife Jezebel. So, crazy. Evil people, obviously, especially Jezebel, was even worse. But for me, I just pray to God that there will be election and that there's pretty much, honest to God, Trump absolutely should win this in a landslide. And that doesn't mean sit back and just, oh, yeah, it's okay. My vote doesn't count. Trump's going to win easily or Biden's going to cheat so bad. There's nothing you can do. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, 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 vote. Obviously, vote. Sitting on your hands, that probably hurt our chances last time around to hopefully tsunami the cheating. I mean, there is no excuse this time around. Like, Biden comes out as a winner, if he's even on the ballot, if he doesn't step away or forced to step away from his own party. There's no reason why Biden should even be a conversation, much less anything else. Okay, well, yeah, that's kind of the theme of the show in a lot of ways. Like, Trump should win this in a landslide. I don't understand the negativity. I don't. Other than, again, maybe this fascist dictatorship, Biden administration may find a way to have no election at all. Because there's no way, if there's any type of honesty left in this country, any type of integrity in any election remaining, there is no way on God's green earth that Joe Biden should come anywhere near any opportunity of possibly winning the next election. How the heck is that possible? How? It's not just about the price of gas. It's the price of everything. Price of eggs, price of a gallon of water, price of milk, the price of cereal. You could buy a box of cereal is like $6-7 now. What's up with that crap? $5? Ooh, that's a deal though. That's a deal. $4.99 for a six donuts. Wow, what a deal. We're doing okay. $4.99 for 6 donuts? What are they made of? Gold? Come on, man. Yeah, that's a Biden line, of course. Really, though? I mean, you don't think Biden had something to do? You don't think shutting down the pipelines had something to do with gas prices? You don't think this is the part I didn't even get to it's the elephant in the room. Hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. You're just throwing money into a blender. That's all you're doing. Ukraine can't win the war against Russia. It's not David versus Goliath. I don't even know who to compare it to. It's like, I don't know, Ukraine versus Russia? That's not even a conversation, folks. It's not even a conversation, and Russia was provoked into that war. They were provoked. I do not believe that Russia's just a demonic presence that's just, they're doing all this and they're invading and destroying a wonderful country. See, the country's one thing. The citizens are one thing. Zelensky's another. Zelensky's an antichrist. Are you kidding me? Zelensky? No. Absolutely no. How could you possibly support him? He's an antichrist. Not at least, I guess you never know, but I doubt it. There's nothing good about Zelensky. What good has he done? He's an ungrateful, evil son of a gun, to put it gently, very gently. How can you vote? I mean, how can you support him? And Joe Biden's basically just forking over the money to cover up all the crimes of himself and his son. It is literally a mafia. We're being run by gangsters here. And it's not because of a certain former president's skin color. Joe Biden is a mobster. He's a don. Barack Obama is a mobster and a don. Hunter Biden is like the other one, like the young guy and Godfather 3, the young guy, the nephew. He's Biden's son, but you get the idea. He's not Michael Corleone. He's not capable of that. Where Joe Biden's like a cracked out, senile version of Vito, you could say. And Obama's like another gangster. They're all working together. It's evil stuff. We're literally being run by a mob. We're being run by mobsters. It's wonderful. Crimes and covering up crimes overseas throughout this. And literally using the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians to cover up your crimes. It's satanic. That's the only word to come up with. Only the devil could be that, only the devil himself with hordes of demons could be that evil, demented. Let's cover up our crime. Oh, people died? That's just cracking a couple eggs, that's all we're doing. Cracking a couple eggs to make an omelet. That's a lot of eggs. It's a lot of eggs to be cracking, folks. We're not talking about get cracking here with those yummy pistachios. I wouldn't mind them as a sponsor, but unfortunately, I don't know about that. Who knows? Maybe the politics are way on the other side, because everybody's are these days. How about Target? Great sponsor, right? No, I don't think so. At least they took their stuff down immediately on July 1st. Or June, whatever, 30th or whatever. Thank God for that. We'll leave that topic alone until next June, I guess. Or some other reason it gets brought up, I suppose. Pride night this, Pride night that. I don't know if I'm on a roll or if I'm just hyper or what's going on, but words are coming out tonight. It's pretty crazy. But obviously I'm very impassioned at the whole situation. Very impassioned. Again, battle lines drawn. I mean, playing a game like Golden Axe 2 with very aggressive music, just dun, 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 dun. It's kind of like that. Like the battle lines are drawn. Like this is serious stuff. Serious stuff. This has been brought up. Obviously, it's old news, but it's still news, dang it. And I'm still going to talk about it. Hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, just throwing money at it, throwing money at this war, supporting one of the two sides, which means you're basically, egging on Russia to keep angering Russia more and more and more, which could lead to something much more dramatic, possibly even American fighters involved against Russia in the air, which is already basically like nudge, nudge, World War III, anyone? Somebody say World War III? That type of thing. But again, hundreds of billions, like I said, right? And then the other part of the story that, it's been brought up multiple times already, but $700 for people, one-time payment for people that lost everything, lost their house, probably their children burned, all the evil cover-ups, the mayor not wanting to mention a single number to anybody of who's missing. Seriously, it's just the strangest thing. Conspiracy theories about possible, what do they call them, energy weapons, like green lasers. I have a green laser right now, I'm holding it, but it's not that powerful that I could burn a house. But there is pretty creepy evidence of cars, houses being, clearly being burned, incinerated really badly, and then trees that were right next to them that weren't even touched, and the lawn's totally fine, which seems a little strange, very strange, precision, kind of like how tornadoes go on a path and destroy everything in the path, but if it misses you, you're okay. Whereas like a hurricane or something, everything, that's a much larger path, so to speak. Everything is destroyed in a huge radius. See, with a fire that big, you'd think it would just be boom, burn, right? Fire is fire. That's like a hurricane. Fire is more like a hurricane, not like a tornado. So what the heck is what the heck's going on with these precision burns, so to speak, terrible burns. So it's kind of scary and kind of weird. Random cars being burned, and nothing around them being burned. It's really weird. So that's out there. It's not just me kind of running my mouth. That information is out there. Though, of course, it's being covered up by major news sources. They're not going to ever bring that up. But the information is out there, and it's quite interesting. So we'll get to the Facebook page, look to wrap things up here. Yep, I mentioned the Instagram about 6 times already. Hope that's okay. Facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. Mark Carlson was asking, hey, Joey, do you see a parallel between what is happening to Jordan Peterson and Trump? I would be interested in your thoughts and comments. So I'm guessing you mean how it's like the love-hate type of thing, how the people that like Jordan Peterson really, really strongly, staunchly support him, but then the other side, they just want to crucify him alive, basically. Well, alive, of course. They want to crucify him. And it's the same thing with Trump, how our supporters are, yes, absolutely, that's the right guy, because of, he did a lot of good things for this country in a 4-year span, and there were a lot of things he was prevented from doing because of a bullcrap group of people that were kind of forced around him. And of course, a certain relative of his that is on the wrong side of the equation, which he should have never been involved in the first place. But we'll leave him somewhere else. I believe that is a son-in-law. Yes, that did not help at all. Damn it! Pardon my French. It did not help. Where Jordan Peterson, yeah, I mean, I'll admit I have very little true knowledge, but after the research I was able to do before starting the show to make absolutely sure I have a clue what I'm talking about, it really appears that it's like absolutely. There's a group of people that strongly support him, and he's wonderful, and the other group basically wants him dead. Like, it's absolutely nuts how polarized people are about certain individuals, Jordan Peterson and Trump. It's crazy. So I'm guessing that's what you meant. Apologize if I'm wrong. If you have a different meaning, and if you do, please let me know. Otherwise, if I hit the nail on the head, yeah. So I can see that parallel. Yes. That's the parallel I've drawn. If it's the incorrect one, I apologize. So let me know if there's a different one. Mark, really great to hear from you. Final thing, Blurry Creatures. Blurry Creatures. Got to give them a shout out here. I need a shout out from them more than they need it from me. They're very successful. Started back in 2020. A lot of these, and they do appear to be Christian conservative-ish. Not all of their guests are, but they certainly have a Christian point of view of things. And they're not Democrats. Let's just leave it at that. You can tell, but that's not the main theme of the show. Blurry Creatures, and very interesting. So there's like 190 episodes already, but I'm going all the way from the beginning, and I'm going to slowly. It might take me 10 years to get all the way caught up, because obviously they're going to be releasing shows along the way. So what am I on? Like episode 12 or something like that. 8, 9, 12. But there's episode 5 and 6, but especially 5. Giant Bones of Travis Roy. Incredible. So I posted that on the Facebook page just to give people, something right there. Interesting, man. I mean, if you it's like history and this and that, but it's also just fascinating. Like untold stories of the past, because really the United States of America has been around since 1776. The Pilgrims came in 1620. There were people before that in the 1500s, not too many, but there were off and on, kind of this and that, and like British, Caucasians and stuff. But then, of course, well before that, there was Native Americans. In the dateless past, it's strongly believed, and I agree because of their appearance, that they appear to be a mix of like Asian, like Chinese-ish, and Russian. That is possibly the origin of what we know as Native Americans. I don't call them Indians because they're not Indian. They're Native American. It was basically a Christopher Columbus thing where he tried to get to India by going on the other side with not knowing that there was a big giant continent called, America in the way. North and South America. Very large, long continent that blocks the way to going to India from Spain. So obviously there was that. There were obviously Caucasians, Europeans, whatever that came in between Christopher Columbus and eventually the Pilgrims in 1620. Of course, Native Americans' dateless past, not sure, but not sure when they officially came, but that is very likely when they originated, was from, again, Russia and China, possibly from crossing over the tiny little area between Russia and Alaska. That's where they possibly got Eskimos and all that, but eventually they kept traveling over the course of many years, traveling, spreading. Some would stay, some would go, blah, 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 all the way down to South America with the Aztecs and such. But there is real evidence, archaeological evidence, that, so you know how in the Bible, like I talked about giants and this and that, you know, how I talked about giants, there were giants in the land and all that, especially before the flood, which is also very interesting because there's a strong possibility that our continents were all connected before the flood, and that actually the land divided during Peleg's, when Peleg was alive. He's a few generations after Noah, you know, Shem and all them, Noah, Shem, and so on and so forth. If I could pull this up here, I apologize. Dang, I can't even. I hate having to sign into my phone every time I want to look at it, and I always mess up. So hopefully I can pull this up here, how many generations. But during the days of Peleg, the earth split up and everything, like the continents split up more. But there were, to the point is that there were giants in North America. There were giants in places like South Dakota. So obviously you want to listen to that episode. I don't want to spoil it all for you, but there were giants. I have pulled it up. Peleg was, gosh, how many generations after? So Noah, obviously, and then Shem, Ham, Japheth, Shem. That's one generation. Arphaxad. So that's like Noah's grandson. Selah, great grandson. Eber, great, and then Peleg was great. So that's Shem's great grandson, Peleg. So the days of Peleg is when the earth divided. So Nimrod must have been in the days of Selah or so. So yeah, it was like around 1700 years after the creation, not too long after the flood, this and that. But so a lot of times, obviously, you'd think Nimrod was when things divided, but maybe they didn't officially divide yet, just the people divided. But yeah, I'm going down too many rabbit holes today. I'm like babbling my head off. Hopefully you don't mind too much. But an absolutely fantastic episode. Again, there were giants here, and Native Americans battled them. And there's all kinds of Native American legends, legends and stories in history that they battled giants. Even as far as to say, the famous line, how they would, that's like a greeting, how, and they'd hold up their 5 fingers, right? The thumb and thumb and 4 fingers. Your hand's got a thumb and 4 fingers, right? But the giants, the Nephilim had 6. So it'd be like 5 fingers and a thumb, along with toes as well. Interesting. Supposedly that's what they were doing. Are you a Nephilim, basically? Hello, are you a Nephilim? And they would battle them, I guess, in the dateless past. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff to think that there were giant skeletons buried in places like South Dakota, Ohio, Tennessee. It's just incredible. I believe Virginia. There's even some evidence of Minnesota, but not as much. But Wisconsin, yep, a real big one there. People that could be like 8 foot's a very common one. 8 foot is taller than basketball players. I'm sorry, there is no 8-foot basketball player. And then you get to 9, 10, 11, blah, 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 which clearly that's not normal. That is that's probably it is an Nephilim. So, incredible stuff. Blurry creatures. Blurry creatures. And I don't know, I'm going to talk about some of that stuff as well. And, probably maybe pigtail off some of this, dovetail off some of what they say and encourage you to listen and all that as well. It's really cool stuff. It really is. It just makes you think of, because we don't really know, really before 1620, or should we say Mr. Columbus in 1492, how much of North America do we really truly know happened here? What happened in the year 1000? Obviously, there were the Vikings and stuff. But what else? But what do you know about the Vikings, though, exactly? Could they have battled giants? Were some of them giants, possibly? I don't know. Hard to say. But, yeah. They obviously were here. I think some of them may have ran away, this and that, because there were definitely giants after the flood. The cause of the flood was because those demons, the fallen angels, were creating these giants, obviously to eliminate the human DNA. So Jesus couldn't be born as a human, and there'd be no Jesus then. That was what they were hoping for. There would be Jesus wouldn't be able to come to this earth in that form. And obviously God was able to stop that from happening, from the messing it up with the flood and so on and so forth. But then the giant thing happened again, which is crazy. So some of them may have ran away at some point and wound up in what was North America before it was North America. Fascinating. Okay, so I think you get the point. Hope you don't mind that. Hope it wasn't too weird and crazy for you. Just all kinds of fascinating podcasts out there. I'm not too big into Bigfoot. I'm not going to really talk about Bigfoot on this podcast, but maybe someday a little bit. But other than, I think if he's real, if they are real, it's a Nephilim. It's not even a Nephilim. It's a demon. It's just a flat out demon. It's not even a Nephilim. Nephilim is a giant, half human, half demon. It's a demon. Period. With that said, I think I'll wrap things up here. I think I've babbled way too much. Thank you so much for listening, though. I hope you've enjoyed it. Political and kind of the other stuff that I've been getting into as well. Historical, almost kind of paranormal-like conversation, but not really. More historical, biblical in a lot of ways, more than historical, but biblical history, you could say. Tell your friends about the show. Encourage them to listen to Freedom of Thought. Would really appreciate it. Please do. I really would. And it's not about me. It's about, again, let's all kind of work together here. Not in groupthink. You have a right to your opinion on everything. There is no groupthink here. No groupthink. That's what we're against. But at the same time, to be around people that were of like mind on some issues, so to speak, that we can agree on something, rather than be around a bunch of people that work every dang day that there's no way in heck you could ever talk politics to them. So this is maybe a nice place of escape from all of that nonsense, being surrounded by the woke crowd every single day. Every single day. Those of you that are blessed to not be around that all the time, God bless you. You must love it. Those of us that are around it all the time, it sucks. We'll leave it at that. Again, please tell your friends about the show. Please interact on the Facebook page. The brand new Instagram. Would love to hear from you. Shout outs to a lot of people, like, again, Mark Carlson, Lee Hepner, of course, Gerald String, Donna Aspinwall locally here, Livia in California. Yes, I'm going to shout out to you. Absolutely. So thank you, all of you, so much for listening. Would love to hear from you. Don't be afraid to call into the show again. Of course, Ray in Kentucky. Why do I keep forgetting about Ray, man? Dang it. So would love to hear from you more and more and more and more. Even if it's just interacting on the page, but if you want to call in, that's awesome. With that said, God bless you. Have a nice Labor Day, and God bless the United States.